Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a system, and once you understand how it works, you can turn it off. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid fear. That's exactly why it controls them. Today, you'll learn how fear is built inside your brain and how to dismantle it step by step. Fear did not evolve to ruin your life. It evolved to keep you alive. At its core, fear is a biological response designed to prepare you for action. Your heart rate increases, your attention narrows, energy is redirected so you can respond quickly. In genuine danger, this system is useful. But modern life rarely presents clear physical threats. Instead, fear gets activated by uncertainty, social exposure, failure, rejection, and the unknown. The nervous system does not distinguish well between physical danger and psychological risk. It reacts anyway. Fear feels personal because it shows up inside your body. Your thoughts race, your chest tightens, your breathing changes. It feels like something is wrong with you. But fear is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is not proof that you are incapable. It is simply a response. The mistake most people make is assuming that fear means they should stop. Most people confuse these three. Stress is energy. Anxiety is anticipation. Fear is a reflex. You can be stressed without being afraid. You can be anxious without real danger. But fear always involves stress and anxiety together, plus a threat signal your brain believes is real. And here's the key. Your brain does not care if the threat is real or imagined. It responds the same way. That's why fear can hijack your life even when nothing bad is happening. Avoidance feels like relief in the short term. You skip the conversation, you delay the decision, you stay silent. And for a moment, the discomfort fades. But avoidance teaches your nervous system a dangerous lesson. This situation was too much for me. Each time you avoid, fear grows more convincing. Over time, your world shrinks. Not because you are incapable, but because you trained yourself to retreat. Understanding fear intellectually does not make it go away. You can read every book, listen to every podcast, understand every explanation, and still feel frozen. Fear is not resolved through logic alone. It is resolved through experience. Fear changes when your nervous system gathers new evidence, not reassurance, not positive thinking, not motivation. Evidence. Evidence that you can feel fear and still act. Evidence that discomfort does not equal danger. Evidence that you recover after exposure. That evidence only comes from doing. This distinction matters. When people say they want to get rid of fear, what they usually want is comfort. But comfort does not build strength. What actually happens when fear is addressed correctly is not that fear disappears. It's that you become braver. The world remains uncertain. Risk remains real. Failure remains possible. But you become capable of moving forward anyway. Courage is not something you either have or don't have. It is a behavior reinforced over time. Each voluntary encounter with fear strengthens your ability to tolerate it. Each avoided encounter weakens that ability. There is no shortcut around this process. Fear becomes trauma when it gets activated repeatedly without resolution. When fear is experienced without action, without processing, and without a sense of control, it embeds itself deeper. The body remembers. This is why people can feel fear long after the original event has passed. The nervous system learned to expect danger and never learned that it could survive it. One of the most important factors in how fear affects you is whether you chose the exposure. When stress is imposed on you, it feels overwhelming. When stress is chosen, it feels challenging. The body responds differently. Voluntary exposure activates growth systems. Involuntary stress activates defensive systems. This difference changes everything. Here is the first rule that actually works. Never wait for fear to disappear before acting. Fear does not disappear through waiting. It disappears through engagement. Waiting teaches fear patience. Action teaches fear limits. Facing fear does not mean overwhelming yourself. It means approaching fear in controlled, repeatable doses. You choose challenges that activate fear. but remain survivable. This is how the nervous system learns, not through force, through repetition. Starting small is intelligence. You do not prove strength by overwhelming yourself. You prove strength by building consistency. Fear responds to pattern, not intensity. When fear arises, most people either fight it or flee it. Neither works. Instead, you observe. You notice the physical sensations without labeling them as danger. You let them rise. You let them fall. This teaches your body something crucial. Fear peaks, and then it passes. At first, this process feels wrong. Your instincts tell you to escape. Your thoughts urge caution. That is normal. Growth always feels wrong to a system designed to preserve stability. Eventually, a shift happens. Not suddenly, not dramatically. You begin to trust your ability to handle discomfort. That trust is earned, not imagined. Up to this point, understand this clearly. Fear is not evidence of incapacity. Avoidance is what reinforces limitation. Courage is built through voluntary, repeated action. One of the most frustrating things about fear is this: you face it once, you survive, and then it comes back. This is where many people get discouraged. They think, I already did the hard thing. Why am I still afraid? Here's the truth most people are never told. Fear is not erased by a single victory. Fear weakens through patterned evidence, not one-time events. Your nervous system learns slowly. It learns through repetition. It learns by watching what you do consistently, not occasionally. So when fear returns, it doesn't mean you failed. It means the lesson isn't finished yet. Another trap people fall into is expecting confidence as a reward for action. They think confidence comes first and action follows. But confidence is not the cause. Confidence is the after effect. What actually comes first is willingness. Willingness to feel uncomfortable. Willingness to act without certainty. Willingness to look imperfect. Confidence is simply your nervous system remembering that you survived before. Fear rarely speaks in facts. It speaks in stories. Stories about what might happen. Stories about embarrassment, rejection, loss, failure. Your imagination becomes a weapon turned against you. What makes this worse is that fear exaggerates probability. It treats possibility as inevitability. A single awkward moment becomes a future identity. A small risk becomes a catastrophic outcome. The body reacts as if the story is real. Many people try to reason with fear. They tell themselves, it's not that bad. I'm probably overthinking. Other people do this all the time. Sometimes that helps briefly. But fear doesn't respond to arguments. Fear responds to experience. Your nervous system is not persuaded by logic. It is persuaded by what you live through. Exposure is often misunderstood. It's not about forcing yourself into panic. It's about teaching your nervous system range. Range of sensation, range of discomfort, range of emotional intensity. Each exposure widens that range. What once felt unbearable starts to feel tolerable. Not pleasant, not easy. Tolerable. That's enough. There is a crucial difference between stress that happens to you and stress you choose. When stress is imposed, your body enters defense mode. When stress is chosen, your body enters challenge mode. Challenge mode is associated with growth, learning, and resilience. Defense mode drains you. This is why choosing to confront fear, even in small ways, is so powerful. You reclaim agency. Fear feels overwhelming when it stays vague. So the first practical move is clarity. Instead of saying, I'm anxious about everything, you ask, what exactly am I afraid of? Then you go further. What is the smallest version of this fear I could face? Fear shrinks when it is defined. Here's something important and often misunderstood. Courage does not mean fear lies to you. The world is uncertain. You can fail, you can be hurt. Fear is honest about that. What changes is not the danger. What changes is your relationship to it. You stop needing safety guarantees before you move. Repeated courageous action does something subtle but powerful. It builds self-respect, not the shallow kind based on praise or success, but the deep kind that comes from knowing how you behave under pressure. You become someone you can rely on. That matters more than feeling good. Anxiety often comes from feeling powerless. Depression often comes from feeling stagnant. Action addresses both, not reckless action. Intentional, chosen action. Each step forward proves that you are not trapped. When you voluntarily face fear, your body releases different chemicals than when you avoid it. Instead of prolonged stress hormones, you engage systems linked to motivation and engagement. You feel more alive afterward, even if the experience was uncomfortable. This is why courage is energizing. Avoidance teaches your body that fear is correct. Each retreat confirms the alarm. Over time, fear starts triggering earlier, faster, and stronger. That's why people say, "I'm anxious about things that never bothered me before." Avoidance expanded the fear response. You interrupt the cycle by doing the opposite of what fear asks. Fear says, "Wait." You respond, "I'll take one step." Fear says, "Hide." You respond, "I'll show up briefly." Fear says, "Not now." You respond, "Now, but small." Facing fear does not mean constant pressure. Recovery matters. After exposure, you allow your nervous system to settle. This teaches another lesson. Stress has an end. You are not trapped inside it. A single dramatic effort rarely changes fear long term. Small, repeated exposures do. Consistency tells your nervous system, "This is normal now." Intensity just shocks it. At some point, fear stops being the main issue. Meaning takes its place. You start asking, "What kind of life am I building?" That question is more powerful than fear. This work feels slow because it is real. Your nervous system evolved over millions of years. It does not rewire overnight, but it does rewire quietly, reliably, permanently. One of the most damaging ideas people carry is that fear must be eliminated before life can begin. That idea alone keeps people stuck for years. Fear is not something you cure and leave behind. Fear is something you carry properly. Think about it this way. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to move while fear is present, without letting it make decisions for you. When you stop fighting fear as an enemy and start treating it as information, its intensity drops naturally. Resistance adds tension. When you tense against fear, your body interprets it as danger multiplied. But when you notice fear and allow it to exist without immediately acting on it, something interesting happens. It peaks, then fades. Not instantly, not magically, but predictably. Fear behaves like a wave. Fighting it keeps you underwater. Letting it pass allows you to surface. Most people try to control fear. Control is rigid, command is calm. Command means you acknowledge fear, but you don't negotiate with it. You say internally, "I see you. You're allowed to be here, but you're not in charge." This shift alone changes posture, breath, and focus. Fear lives in the body before it lives in thought. That's why movement matters. Stillness during fear often turns into paralysis. Movement signals survival. This doesn't mean reckless action. It means small physical engagement, standing instead of slouching, walking instead of freezing, speaking instead of staying silent. Movement restores agency. Breathing techniques only work when they are simple and natural. Slow, steady exhales tell your nervous system that the threat is not immediate. You don't need complicated patterns. You need rhythm. Longer exhales than inhales. Consistent pace, no force. This doesn't remove fear. It gives you room inside it. Discomfort is not the enemy. Chronic avoidance is. When you avoid discomfort, your life gradually shrinks to match your comfort zone. Fewer conversations, fewer risks, fewer possibilities. Eventually, even small challenges feel overwhelming because your tolerance has narrowed. Safety is fragile. Tolerance is durable. Instead of asking, "How do I stay safe?" ask, "How much discomfort can I handle today?" That question builds strength. Fear gains leverage when decisions are made in the moment. You reduce its power by deciding beforehand. You decide, "When this happens, I will do this." Then, when fear shows up, you follow the script, not the emotion. This removes hesitation. Real courage is rarely loud. It looks ordinary from the outside. It's the email sent, the conversation started, the boundary stated, the step taken without applause. Drama belongs to avoidance fantasies, not real growth. Self-trust doesn't come from success. It comes from keeping promises to yourself under pressure. Each time you act despite fear, you deposit trust. Eventually, fear stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like a signal that you're on the right path. Failure does not destroy courage. Avoidance does. Failure teaches refinement. Avoidance teaches helplessness. You can recover from mistakes. You cannot grow from inaction. Life responds to momentum. Even imperfect action creates feedback. Waiting for clarity rarely produces clarity. Clarity comes after movement. Something subtle happens over time. Fear doesn't disappear, but it stops dominating. You stop asking, "Will this be comfortable?" You start asking, "Is this worth doing?" That shift changes everything. You don't become brave and then act. You act, and bravery follows. Identity is the residue of repeated behavior. The goal is not to feel fearless. The goal is to live without postponing your life because of fear. That is freedom. Fear is part of life. You will never reach a point where fear disappears forever, but you can reach a point where fear no longer decides for you. And that difference is the difference between a constrained life and a meaningful one. The choice is yours.